Welcome to the Fireside Chat for Fitness and Nutrition with Adrienne and Ken. Today we're going to be discussing how to lose fat and build muscle. Are you excited?
Right.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Where would you like to start with this, Ken? Because I feel like a lot of this is definitely fitness related. There's a nutritional component, but yeah, tell me what your thoughts are on it.
Okay, so building muscle and losing fat. So it's kind of hard to do both at the same time. So you want to kind of focus on one or the other. You can do both at the same time. It's more challenging, but if I were to have my druthers or my pick of it, I would say put on muscle first, because the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn when you're doing nothing. Because muscle burns calories just when you're watching TV or sitting and reading or doing nothing, or even sleeping to a certain degree. Your muscles use energy, so it burns calories. So the more muscle you have, the more you burn, the more calories you burn when you do nothing. And calories, of course, is fat has a lot of calories in it. So how do you build muscle, and what do you do to actually gain muscle? So first off, believe it or not, you have to have, if you want to build muscle, you have to have a calorie surplus. You have to actually eat a little bit more than what your body can normally normally take in. And I'm not talking about much. I mean 250 to 500 calories a day. And you don't want to do this for a long period of time. Just enough to where you can start putting on a little bit of muscle. Now, when you pardon me, when you first start working out, say for instance you haven't worked out for 20 years, or you're new to working out, particularly strength training, you're going to put on muscle very quickly, very good. And we're talking pound, it could be measured in pounds per week. Okay. So your body is very adaptable. Our bodies are just beautiful, and they adapt very quickly to change. And when you do proper strength training, it's in the first 3 to 6 months, you're going to put on some muscle really quickly. After that, it starts to slow down. So if you're talking to bodybuilders who've been exercising for years, they count their gains in years, in pounds per years, not in pounds per weeks or months. So when you first start off, your muscle gains are really quick, and your neuromuscular system is getting used to it. And the tendons, the ligaments are getting stronger, and the muscles are improving. So it's good to, when you first start out, you'll see gains really quickly. You want to start, if you want to put on muscle, you want to focus on compound movements. Now, what do I mean by that? A compound movement is a movement that works 2 joints at the same time. Okay. So think of squat. It works the hips and the knees. The deadlift, it works the hips and the knees. The chest press works the shoulder and the elbow. A rows works the shoulder and the elbow. Pull downs, shoulder and the elbow. Shoulder press, shoulder and the elbow. Works a lot of muscle. Works a whole bunch of different muscles at the same time. So you're able to put on. So you don't have to work as long, because you're working a whole bunch of muscles at the same time, and it puts on. That's the best way to put on muscle at the same time. Now, when you're exercising, it's not when you're strength training in particular, it's not the actual exercise that makes you stronger and puts on muscle. Believe it or not, it's not. That actually tears your muscles apart. It's the time in between you're working out that actually gives your muscles times to repair and make them bigger and stronger. And so given that, you want to take at least 48 hours in between exercises or exercise days or so. Excuse me. To let the muscles build and repair themselves. So it's the rest in between the exercise that actually makes you stronger and bigger. It's not the actual movements that's doing it. That's actually ripping your muscles apart, believe it or not. So it's the rest in between. So you want to take proper rest, in between. Again, 48 to 72 hours, depending on how your body feels. You should be a little sore. Well, you don't have to be sore, but you might be a little sore when you're doing it. If you're really sore, you want to take an extra day, because your muscle's not ready to do that same thing again. And so after the compound movements, and you want to take recovery time, so you want to do consistency. Consistent is the key, as I always preach. We always preach that consistency is the key. And what you want is, you want at least twice a week. 3 times is better. As you get more into it, you're going to find that you may like it so much that you want to do it more. And then what you can do then is do what's called a split routine, where maybe you work one day, you work the lower body, then the next day you work the upper body.
Mhm.
And then the next day you work the lower body, the next day you work the upper body. And that's fine because you're giving those muscles a chance to rest, a chance, for at least 48 hours, chance to rest, to be rebuild and repair themselves, to make themselves stronger. So recovery is important. Sleep is huge. Sleep is a huge thing. As a matter of fact, you need at least between 7 and 9 hours of sleep for your body to really recover, and the most efficient way to recover. So if you don't get enough sleep, your body's not going to grow as quickly as you want it to. And you're more open to injury. If your body's tired when you're doing something, you may do it wrong and injure yourself. So sleep is really, really, really important. And I think that was about it. Oh no, so that's about it for building muscle. So it's going to take you a little while to build muscle, but the more muscle you build, the better it is. You'll lose body fat too. Now let's talk about fat. So there are 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. So in order to lose a pound of fat, you have to have a caloric reduction, which you can talk about that, or as far as I don't know if you're going to talk about that, but that's if you want to lose body fat, you need to have a caloric reduction. Yes. But if you're going to do it, if you change nothing else, let's just say, for instance, you eat the same thing every day. Let's just say, and if you want to lose weight, you're going to have to do what's called aerobic activity. Aerobic is defined as with air. And the three things that you need to do to be aerobic is it has to involve the muscles of the lower body, the hips and the buttocks, the largest and longest muscles in the body. It has to be nonstop, and has to be at least 20 minutes long in order for it to be effectively considered aerobic activity. So you want to do something that's aerobic to where you're burning at least 300 calories. And that could be anywhere from, it could take you, depending on how the intensity is, how much intensity it is, anywhere from 35, 40 minutes to maybe an hour, maybe a little bit longer than that. 300 calories, if you burn 300 calories each time that you do aerobic activity, it'll take you between 11 and 12 days to burn that 3,500 calories, which is a pound of fat. So that's like half a pound a week. And it's considered, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but it's considered in the fitness industry that a half a pound to 2 pounds a week is considered very sustainable and very, very healthful. It's not if you're not going to lose a pound a day. Yeah. Okay, that's very unhealthy, and you're going to gain it back. So if you lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a week, that is very sustainable, and your body can get used to it, and you can keep it going and until you reach your goals. And then once you reach your goals, you can keep it there. But if you lose it too fast, you've heard those yo-yo diets. I'm sure yo-yo diets where you eat the whatever diet and then you go off it and then you gain the weight back plus a little bit more. Well, if you lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a week, very sustainable. You won't do that. So there you go. There's the difference between the fat and muscle. You want to try to build a little bit of muscle first, and then lose a little bit of fat too. Although you can do it at the same time, it's a little more challenging to do. So
that was actually the most surprising part for me.
Really?
Yeah, like thinking about eating a little bit more to put on the good weight, essentially, so that you could lose more. I mean, what I was going to tell everybody too is that you definitely want to have that muscle so that you can just be sitting, doing your desk work, whatever, and still have your body be burning more calories. However, yes, a lot of times people get into, I don't know, stretching exercises, or I jump on the treadmill, and they're kind of ignoring that piece, which kind of said is important, but in a kind of a different way, like help you burn the calories, right?
Yeah, that was correct. Yeah. So that's, the aerobic is what's going to help burn calories. Now strength training will also help burn calories because you're using energy to do it. It's just not aerobic. It's not aerobic. And aerobic is the most efficient way to lose body fat. And
the other key part was the importance of rest and not doing every day or 2-a-days or things like that, because, being the new year, everybody's like, gotta exercise every day for an hour or 2 hours. I'm gonna lose all this weight, right?
Yeah, you're gonna burn out. You're gonna start slow and build up.
Yeah. And to just kind of address the other thing you said, generally what I like, it's 3,500 calories in a pound, roughly. I don't want to just cut down on food personally. Most of my clients don't want to just cut down on food either. So usually we blend it between cutting back on food, but then also increasing your physical activity so that you can get there, but in a better way where you're not basically skipping a meal in some cases. And the 1 to 2 pounds a week, I would say, is helpful for a majority of people. If you are losing the last 10 pounds, it's going to be harder. I would lower your expectations to maybe a half a pound a week.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. The last bit is the hardest.
Yeah, but it does, that helps it be more sustainable and gradual, because we don't want you to be hungry. We don't want you to be starving and yet still feeling like you have to do an hour of exercises every day. Combine the two, lower the food intake a little bit, make sure it's healthy food, and then increase the physical activity a little bit too. It doesn't have to be so hard. In terms of macronutrients, it's always good to go for a blend of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. So do not do the whole whatever crazy diet, watermelon diet, this food group diet, anything like that right now. Remember, the vegetables are carbohydrates, so you also don't want to just kick all of them out either. So in terms of protein, a couple of things, and we'll discuss this in other episodes too, but a couple of things to consider is you don't want to just drastically increase your protein intake, because it can turn to fat. Anything that the body doesn't need or use will actually turn to fat. And the other thing is that it's harder for your kidneys to process a lot of protein. So don't try to be getting like 200 grams in a day if that's not what your body needs. This is why personalized nutrition and fitness are so key. You got to have somebody to help guide you for what you need versus what is an off-the-shelf solution, right?
Everybody's a little different.
Yeah. So I would say that those are the main parts. And, definitely get your protein. Don't eat too much. Generally recommend about a 0.8 to 1 grams per kilogram of body weight. Of course, that can vary depending on what you're doing, but that's a general guideline. You don't want to definitely go double or triple that. So not overeating it and making sure that you are taking some rest in between your workouts, but also supporting your deficit by increasing workouts and reducing some quantity of food, making sure the quality is still there. Those are the ways to really help yourself achieve what you want in terms of lowering body fat while also increasing muscle mass.
Excellent.
Any last comments or anything else that we should clear up for our viewers today?
I don't think so. I think we did a good job. I think we covered most that's what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, and I would say that consistency is a key in fitness.
I just wanted you to say it.
So let's be realistic in our goals here. Remember that losing fat and building muscle is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. You do not want to try to do 24 hours of exercising and skipping all of this is not going to help you long term. And of course, consult with a healthcare professional and a certified personal trainer to help keep you motivated, help you do the right things, the right exercises and everything else, and make sure that they align with your individual health needs and concerns, as well as your goals.
Yep. I like it.
All right. If you guys have any questions, comments, please pop them in the comments part. If you have any topics that you'd like us to cover that we have not covered yet, there are so many in the health and fitness world. So feel free to also share those with us, and we will see you on an upcoming episode.